review. And when is the next class again? On Thursday, right? On Thursday you have 1 hour. If we cover everything by today, then I'll have to see whether we have class on Thursday or not, all right? Because this week it's just more likely for the review only, okay? But because some of you haven't attended, so I will teach briefly each topic for you to just addressing the importance part. So the first topic that I already covered, very first lesson, that's ethics and morality. What is the difference between the ethics and morality? I still feel busy, so I'm not going to check in case I feel busy, I sit down. So for the ethic and morality, now what are the difference between the ethic and morality? So the ethic is the branch of philosophy involved in the systematize the defending and recommending the concept of right or wrong behavior. So that is what is the ethic is about. It's a part of the philosophy. And it's also indicate that what is the right or wrong. And this ethic very similar to principle. As I already told you, social or human principle, individual principle, right? So you know what is the majority of the society, what do they want? For example, killing other people is part of the individual of us holding, not killing other people because other people have a right to live. So that is the principle, right? But then what is the morality? Morality, it can be the body standard and principle derived from the code of conduct. So morality, from the principle, morality has to be extracted out and formalized in a form like a precept. You know, precept is just like the morality. So that's why it's called a body of standard or principle derived from the code of conduct. So there is it's been formulated into a code of conduct. For example, killing is a principle that everybody has a right to live, right? So let's say that the principle is everybody has a right to live. But then the morality say that India holding the code of ethics is that no one can kill anyone like that. So then it's going to extract out a very specific way of practice. They formulate a form of practice in language for example, when you're driving and the person go first, you hear them go first. You behind, you just keep follow the car behind. But if you want to bypass them, you have to turn on the signal or make your hand gesture and say that I want to take the left lane and bypassing you. So there is a code for those. So in order to have the passing the front car, you need to have a way of doing it. So that's part of the policy has been listed out or has been formulated in a certain way, in language, so you can see it. So that's why it's called morality, similar like that. Understand that? Okay? So it's been formulated into a language. Is that, these Vietnamese none they do. They still not very understand very much because they live in it's no more sit, you sit over there. So then when you, for example, during the Buddha time, like I said, the first 9 years, there was no Patimokkha. But because, why? Because the people live up to the principle according to the Indian society back then. Everybody has the right to live, everybody has the right to choose their spiritual path, and everybody live with their uprightness, one wife and husband or whatever. Or even that the wife allowed men to have two wives if she cannot give birth a baby from him. So it's the policy, but it's not been written out. So then the bhikkhu, they live up to the standard of the society requirement. So there's no specific policy or regulation has been written down. And if he or she become a monk and a monk or nun, actually very natural, they're not supposed to have sex. Because as a monk, that's natural. But after the 9 years, there one bhikkhu, 9 to 12 years around there. So when the sangha getting bigger, up to the 9 to 12 years around there, the sangha getting bigger, so then there's one monk violate the sexual interaction 7 times. So then the Buddha wrote down that monk not supposed to having sex with anything. You have to understand anything, okay? Not just human, but anything. So if a person live up to the principle, the social requirement, then the precept will not be written down, right? But because there is a violation, so that's why the morality has been written down, formulated in language, specific language, to make sure that the righteousness has been carried out. Understand the ethic and also morality. Ethic is much bigger. Morality is related to philosophy, related to religion, related to the culture, and it's also formulated in language already. Another example that, for example, I will always give you the example as a adult, we pass by, and we know for sure if we pick your finger into the electrical cord, you will be zapped by the electricity. But a baby crawling, very curious, and then try to pick. So you don't have a seal to seal these people. But then you say, stop taking it, stop picking on it, otherwise I smash you. From now on, you're not allowed to come close to this one. So that is a precept. From now on, you're not allowed to call nearby. So that is being formulated as a language, very specific, and then the kid knows. So the moment the kid comes, and then it's still very curious, but then the kid say, I should not come close because mother will hit me. So that is become the precept, and that is the morality. So the morality has been formulated very specific and also formulated in language. So language is not necessarily written. Language in the sense that it's been a statement, been formalized, and then make the kid understand she's not supposed to come close to the outlet. So that's why that is the morality. Okay? So that is anybody understand the difference between the ethic and also morality? Understand now? Any question? Yes, Robin?
I'm really interested in this because as a lawyer, we have a lot of ethics. But I like, there's one on the ethics. A person follows ethical principles. He don't necessarily have strong moral values. In fact, there are even possibilities where he may not have any morals. That's quite a strong statement.
Say that again?
The ethics, you have a definition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth one now on your charts. A person who follows ethical principles need not necessarily have strong moral values. In fact, there are even possibilities where he or she may not have any morals. That's quite strong.
Yeah. So you see, because morality is based, like I said, Even though morality has been formulated as language, but morality usually connected with the philosophy of living or the religion. For example, I already give the example from the previous classes. For example, the Muslim, they wear burqa, right?
Yes.
Now that is their morality. Understand?
Yeah.
But then it's not up to the ethical part, because in the ethical, if they come to Canada, Canada say, our ethical society, we have to see everybody's face. Everybody has, the government has a right to see your face.
Yes.
So that's why the morality doesn't necessarily fall into the ethical. Right? But ethical cover the morality. Do I give you a specific example of ethical?
That's really good. Yeah, yeah. Very proud of it.
So here I have I extract out from the textbook and also let you have a look of what is the difference between the morality and ethics. And you need to understand this very clearly, because later on whatever we learn in Buddhism is fall into the ethical part, not only morality. Okay, ethical practice is considered as a universal, right? So for the legal guideline and professional rule for ethics, government ethic, the acceptability of ethic is confined within a particular space and times and frame. So this is not necessarily why is this in the specific time and space? It's because the ethical in Canada might be different from the ethical in India. For example, India, you have to support as a daughter-in-law in the Indian society, you have to stay with your mother-in-law, right? But not in Canada and USA. So that means a space differences have a different ethical, right? And then become, for example, in Canada or in Vietnam, people used to live in a different generation, even the same locality in Vietnam. People live in a different generations in one family. But now everybody focus on the nuclear family. Okay, nuclear family does mean husband, wife, and children only. So this is considered as a nuclear family. So, and then for the nuclear family, they say that as a daughter-in-law, you have the right to raise your kid. Even the parents-in-law babysit the kid, but then have to babysit according to what you, but not in the multi-generation family, right? So the same locality, but at a different time, they will have a different ethic. Understand that? Okay. So that's why, that's what is meant by the time and space. Now, ethics depend on the prisms of order. So this is really depend on the majority of the people in the society, right? What is the whole society require? What is the whole society culture, tradition, right? So culture, tradition, the majority of the people doesn't fall into the religion. Don't mix up religion into this, okay? Culture and tradition is different from religion. And majority people prefer to practice in that way, then we have to follow. So in the context that are different, then the ethic could be different, okay? So hence there is some degree of flexibility in ethic, okay? For example, there is some flexibility. If your mom and your wife fall down on the river, who are you going to rescue? The guy, right? And each in a different, in that context, you have to understand, okay, if a 92 years old mom falling down, and also I have 3 kids and my wife falling down, then I probably prefer to rescue my wife. So then you can nurture my kids. Or if I prefer to say that my mom is the one who gave me birth, but why I can looking for another one, then I would prefer to rescue my mom. So in a different context, there's no right or wrong here. Okay, so in different context, we will have a different preference and there is a flexibility. then ethic follow because society decided it is the right course of action. Again, this is the part of the society. Like I said, it's because of the prism of the audience, right? The majority of the people in the society. A person who follows ethical principles need not necessarily have a strong moral value. In fact, there are even possibility that we may not have any moral. Okay, so I already explained to Robert about this part already between the Muslim religion and also the ethical in the country. Now, ethics is something usually associated with the field of law and medicine or business. Ethics does not have a religious connotation. So again, ethical doesn't contain the religious factors in there. Okay, so don't mix with ethics and religion. It's just very simple human principle. Like in Asian culture, you ultimately have to respect the elders. That's all, period. Okay, but that's not necessary in Canada. In Canada, part of the mutual respect. I respected my grandmother, but my grandmother also need to respect me. My grandmother cannot insult me in front of other people. I have a right to say back, grandmother, please do not insult me. Like that. So that's a different religion. I mean, a different space, a different society will have a different connotation. All right. So it's not necessary according to religion. So then we look into the morality. It's come in the subtlety. Morality is transcendence, the norm, and laid down by the culture. So this one by the norm. Okay. So the norm or the culture. For example, if you learn Muslim, and especially when you learn the Western or East Asian, not Southeast Asian, East and West Asia and Middle East culture, you see the woman wear burqa. The men also wear the veil, right? And you're going to say that, why do you have to wear that? And they say, well, sometimes wear that. That's not true. That's not true. The true why they're wearing it, because if you go to desert, okay? I went to Rajasthan desert and I brought my mushroom banana hat, the bamboo hat, the Vietnamese bamboo hat. And I thought that was okay. But when I went to the desert and I just bring the hat and I think that's good enough to block the heat. But actually when I went to the desert the whole day absorbed the heat, and now the heat already in the sand. So when you go to the sand, the heat radiated up and it's blocked by your heart and it's burned your face. That's how hot the desert is. And you see this country in Southeast Asia and also West Asia, they live under the radiation of the above and also the sand. So that's why they have to wear burqa, right? To cover everything, and only the eyes. So then that's become the norm, right? Become the culture. And so that's why they're using it for the purpose of the heat living on the desert. That has nothing to do with the Muslim religion. But then because the culture and also religion has been associated so close to each other, then people don't really research into what is the purpose of wearing burqa and what is the origin of wearing the burqa. So then it becomes the practice. And they thought that as a Muslim woman, we have to cover to protect our face. But if you learn that, you also think that during the East Asian country, before Muhammad and Middle East countries, their society very nomadic, okay? Very nomadic. One person is the chief of the tribe. And when the chief of the tribe died, the son will adopt all the women in the tribe and become his wife. Even he can sleep with his mother, stepmother. He can sleep with any mother, stepmother, he wanted to, except his own mother. Okay, so then some of the family think that, to be shameful to have a baby girl born. So that's why to protect them, and then nomadic people, they moving, right? They're moving from one tribe to another tribe because they're looking for the water. So that's why they don't have a very solid society that they can stay in Westport. So that's why the woman has the power first to block the heat, second to protect themselves. Okay, so then this kind of the society has been carried on up to now. Now, if you wanted to, I can introduce you out here. We don't have this kind of courses here, but in Delhi University, I took 1 year of this East Asian, Middle East culture and development, and that's what I learned from their culture as well, and that's how I know that the origin of the Buddha and the woman before Muhammad is very childlike, and so that's why when Muhammad exists in the world, and then Muhammad reduced that from 100 of wives down to 3 wives. So that's a huge step of revolution. So that is the example for you to see why the women were being brought up. It's not necessarily religion, but it's part of the norm. Morality is seen as a perspective of individual. Why is perspective individual? Because morality, individual is depend on individual preference as well, in the family preference as well. For some, in the Hindu family, each Hindu family, they have their own norm as well, right? So not necessarily the same. Not necessarily exactly the same. And even, like I'm a Vietnamese, but I'm a Chinese Vietnamese, right? Whenever that, I don't think that these Vietnamese know about this, but in the Chinese culture, whenever we went attend a funeral, when we get home, we have to step over the pot of fire before we enter the house. Because they believe that, now this is very scientific, they believe that because in Chinese they believe in yin and yang. So when you attend a funeral, it's a very strong yin. So when you get into the house, if you don't burn this kind of yin, then you easily get sick, especially for women. So then when they step over the pot of fire, then the fire is considered as yang. So let's burn out all your negativity and also the yin in whatever you absorb from the funeral. Okay, so that is my parents' local practice brought it from China, even though we live in Vietnam, but that's not our practice. Okay, so that's why it's very individual, and this individual is including yourself, also including your family. Morality follows because of a person belief that this is a right course of action, and this is considered as individual belief. Okay, so that is the morality as well. So then there could be a situation where the moral person violates ethics to maintain, uphold the moral value. And I already said this. People sometimes due to their principle, and that's why they can violate the ethic. For example, when I already said Ottava and Kiri, right? Ottava doesn't mean you're afraid that what other people criticizing you, and Kiri does mean you are afraid that you feel shameful that if you violate your own principle. So morality is just like that. You have your own principle, but sometimes you violate the ethical. That is, you don't care about other people criticizing you. That's the majority of the society people criticizing you. Okay, so that is Ottava and Kiri. That's why in Buddhism they have Ottava and Kiri, two sides in upper hand. So, for example, lately you will see in Germany, they've been expelled, a lot of Muslims come back to their Muslim country because they don't follow the German government's policy or the law. they say that this is their Muslim practice and they have a right to have a religion. But then German government also say, yes, everybody has the right for their religious practice, but you also have to follow the regulation of the country as well, the law. And the law that everybody has the right to show their face and not violence and this and that. So that's why they have to accept. So sometimes that you observe the morality, but then you still also able to violate the ethical. Okay?
From a lawyer point of view, the opposite applies to me because as a lawyer, I have to comply strong ethics, the rules of conduct. And sometimes you're in a position where you feel it's immoral. Say, for instance, you're representing a murderer in court. Ethically, you do your job. But sometimes you may feel moral, and then if the person gets off, you go home and you think, I've allowed someone to get away with murder, literally. So I'm looking at, you look at obviously from your perspective of a teacher.
Both of these can be interact each other as well, right? It's not necessary that you have a moral to violate the ethical, but then sometimes, like you said, if the opposite of the article, opposing the article act, then article can be, if you observe the ethical, you might opposing the moral process as well, right? So not necessarily one way, but this can be true. Let me give you an example. For example, I already told you when I was a nurse, and then we have the rule of the regulation in nursing that is euthanasia. You know euthanasia? So that's mean you give the injection and the people die peacefully. So a nurse allowed to have it, but under one condition, that is the doctor. The doctor must give the order, and the nurse will follow. Now then, but my practice as a nun, I'm not supposed to do that because it's going to violate my precept as a nun. Right? So in that way, I have to suggest it to my supervisor. I say, please switch me the assignment. I don't want to take care of this patient because it's going to violate my moral practice. Because my moral practice is so strong. So then so then she's willing to switch it for you. Okay? So in that way, you're not going to violate your moral practice, and you're not violate the ethical practice in that hospital as well. Right? But that's the thing that as a bhikkhuni patimukha or bhikkhu patimukha, you're supposed to become a doctor and also a nurse. And that is one of the reasons. One of the mild reasons that the Buddha lists that. Okay, so that's the thing. Also, for example, a good example that you said that, for example, they're not supposed to kill, right? But then what happens if this person join the war? Then join the war, right? Okay. If they join the war, and if the enemy come, they have to shoot them. If they don't shoot them, they're going to kill him, right? Yeah. So he has to protect himself, he has to kill. But also that, if you learn about the, not even Mahayana, but in the Theravada too, Bodhisattva idea, if you learn the Bodhisattva idea, and if a person has to join the war, and to protect their country, if the invader come to the country, he or she has to join the war and he has to kill for the protection of their country. So that's no choice. That is part of the ethical practice, but then it doesn't really fall into the moral practice. So that's these two factors interact each other as well. Now, when we're talking about, then we also compare about the ethic and human values. So ethic is a system of moral principle where is the value associated with the thought process. Okay, it's very both of them are very. One can be very objective, but the other one could be very conventional. Okay, for the human value, it's associated with individual thought process, a person's sense of what is wrong and what is right. So this is very individual, right? And number two is that that ethic aligned with the professional setup, and this one is belong to the personal aspect. Okay? And as you know that if this is a professional setup, that's mean the institution. Okay, so it's an institution. So ethic has three areas to study: meta ethic, nominated ethic, and applied ethic. Okay, differences in the value is the moral value, social value, and authentic aesthetic value, religious value, and political value. So this one is individual choice to choose into the value. Whereas this one is become the meta ethic, nominated ethic, and applied ethic. Now, ethic also consistent within a professional setup, but it will be varied between three different organizations or institutions. It depends on the state. So ethics are determined by the institution, organization, very profession. Ethics that are followed by the medical profession. Professional will be different from ethics followed by the public administration domain. So this one, what does this indicate? That means the ethics has to go through the administration for assessing and also formulating. They have to have a council to see whether this ethical practice is applicable or not applicable. Okay, so they have to go through the process to consider is this applicable or not applicable. But about 10 years ago, they start having the kind of a human that you, from one human, you take the T cell and then you can produce another human exactly the same. Oh, clone. Okay, a clone. So then, for example, if I want to reserve Brenda, exactly the same I am, then I can reserve the T cell, right? The T cell is the main cell. So that's why when you reserving that, and if a person took the T cell and then also produce exactly human being like Brenda here, then they can. But then according to the global ethic, international ethic, they banning that. Because they say that if they can build that, they can build, the Bin Laden, a second Bin Laden, like that. If you producing evil, then more good. If a person wants to conquer the world, what happened? So then the international ethic practice ban the science to producing that, not to the human being. They can do it. If they can store the T cell. So then they can do it, but then international ethical practice banning that idea. So that's why when this has to go through the administration domain, that's when they have to reevaluate what is the pro and con, what is the consequences, whether the consequences go to damage to the globe or not. So that's has to go through the assessment. Whereas the value is determined by the family and the religion, culture, and community. For example, if you think about human value, and human value, like I said, in the Canadian family, probably different from the Chinese family. Or in American family, probably different from the Chinese or Indian family. Okay? And also, for example, Indian families say the boy in the family is the most important. Now, this is also the same as the Chinese and Vietnamese family as well, but not so much anymore. Because they found that nowadays woman and girl and boy has the same right. And when the parents get old, the girl also able to support the family as equally well as the boy. So that's why they say that no more preference for boy. Although they still have a very little bit because the boy carried the father's last name like that. So that's why the human value is very different from culture to culture. But ethical is more universal. And then ethics could act as a constraint. The act need to be taken in the organization could be consistent and the value of the person. However, it could be changed, a chance that cannot be executed and is may not align with the ethical standard of the profession, organization, and institution. What this is really saying that, so sometimes that the ethical could act as a constraint. For example, when I start my nursing and I'm not allowed to give the medicine to suppress that person breathing, to kill him as a euthanasia. But then my colleague, she said that why don't you give it to her? You know that the doctor gives you the range from morphine 0.1 milligram to 1 cc. So you just give her in 1 cc that you die peacefully. Like that. So then I say that yes, that's okay too. But then I say no, according to the ethical, I'm not allowed to do that because I haven't got the doctor's order. And if the doctor can't give it, that's fine. But then I'm not allowed to do that. So she feel very constraining because it's such an agony to see the patient is dying and suffering from bad vision for so many days. If we have no choice, we have no choice. We have to abide up to the ethical practice in a certain institution. Okay, so sometimes we find that it's really constraining, but we still have to abide up to that. And once majority of the society, Canadian society, move forward, and that's why they also allowed to practice. Another new regulation come out, and Canadian is the first country, one of the first country allowed to have the gay marriage and lesbian marriage in Canada. And so that's why if you talk about 30 years ago, it was not applicable because majority of the people are from Catholic background. So they are opposing that. But 2016, Canadian passed the institution and allowed to have gay marriage and lesbian marriage. And now Canadian is very open to it. So even that the Canadian government also not constraining the language to use. I'm not allowed to say that he. In the language, we're not supposed to call him he. If a child grew up, I'm not supposed to call him he, or I'm not supposed to call him she. But I have to call him they. In that way, I know this is crazy, and I could not stand it as well. But this is what is the condition in education system right now. And they say that the kid can have a choice when they grow up, they want to be a male or a female.
In London, they have the same problem. The way the church deals with what they call same-sex marriage is a huge problem. Because in law, they can have it, but they cannot have it in the church. In the Church of England, it's obviously liberals and they're staunch ones. Some churches give them a blessing. They don't have when they come to the congregation, the priest would sort of like acknowledge your presence of just being married legally, but they cannot be acknowledged in the eyes of God. The Church of England
No,
God.
but in Christianity, like what is that? Non-Catholic. What is that one? Protestant. They believe they also Christianity and they're allowed to be married.
But the Church of England having a huge problem with it.
Well, England is different, right? England belongs to Anglican, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Anglican is different, Catholic is different, and also Protestant is also different. So if you know that Christianity divided into different schools, right?
Yes.
So that's the Protestant allowed to get married. And besides, the Canadian government is considered as a multicultural and multi-faith society now. So that's why they okay with the same-sex marriage.
Yes, an example how the civic law applies and the moral law doesn't apply.
You see, for the Western culture, they don't integrate the religion into their government system. Some country like you see like India is very strong in integrate the religious system into the law. Canadian is not. Canadian, of course, Canadian they still believe in Christianity. Majority of them from Christianity, but lately a lot of Muslims come to Canada and also Buddhism, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean people come to Canada. So now the Canadian system has been changed. And so that's why they embrace majority of practice. And then, that's why they say that if they want to get married, they just need to fly to Montreal or Ottawa, that's the capital of Canada, and they get legal marriage.
Yeah, for example, when King Charles was appointed, he had a big rigmarole, I couldn't stand it. But anyway, he had to be the defender, previously he was the defender of the faith, one faith, Protestant. Now they subtly changed it, defender of faiths. They've got to run the secular society by changing one word from faith to faith, which is quite significant. But Christianity is actually now smaller in the UK than possibly. Put everyone up together, they're less Christians, which is the first time in history.
Yeah, but that's what I say, that it depends on the locality and also depend on the terms, right? Ethical will change, ethical practice will change. So at this moment in Canada, still have to change it because they already formulated the institution and the law legally by 2016. Up to now, it's already 8 years. So there's no problem. But eventually, law cannot be fixed. It eventually will change depending on the population of the people in Canada, how you can see it. So this PowerPoint slide must be in the exam for sure. Okay? Because if you want to understand the ethical, you want to understand the Buddhist ethical, why it's a universal, why it's fundamental for the whole universe, then you need to understand the definition of the ethical and the morality. Okay? And the human value. That will give you a differentiate each definition. Like I already said to the previous student in the previous batches, if you want to learn Buddhism, you have to understand the definition very well. Okay? Each of the words you have to understand very well. For example, faith, what is faith? And if you learn respect, you have to understand what is respect. Humility, you have to understand what is humility. Okay? And also you need to understand, when you learn into the psychology, what is Jeta psychology, you have to understand very well. Once you understand the definition very well already, then you're able to apply. You can apply the contemplative knowledge into Buddhism. If you don't understand the definition very well, then it's going to be difficult for you. And then you don't really have a very strong defense for your statement when you answer the question. All right? So we have to understand the ethical and moral and value very well for that. Any question before I move on? And so that's why when we're talking about ethical, you have we're going to touch on the part of the triple gem. And the triple gem is for what? Is for you to develop on faith. And faith, why is faith considered as ethical? Because faith is contained in what? What faith contains? In Buddhism, what faith contains? In order to have a strong faith, what do you need? Huh? No, but before you believe in Buddha, what do you do?
Confidence. Confidence.
Huh?
We need confidence.
No, confidence is the definition of faith. But before you have confidence, what do you have? Knowledge. You need just knowledge. Okay? The knowledge in the teaching. That's why in Dhamma Sutra, Buddha told the Dhamma people, this leader say that my school of practice is the best. The other leader say my school of practice is the best. The other one say that my religion practice is the best. And then the Buddha say that you have to understand before you believe. Okay? Same as the you want to believe in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, you need to search into it before you pick up the religion. You need to understand what is that religion teaching, right? The fundamental religion. And then if it makes sense to you, then you also say, okay, this is the religion that I'm going to follow. It's just like Dr. Ambedkar. Ambedkar, he's the one that from India, and before he left India, he went to England and studied. So after he came back from India, when he came back from England, and then he thought that he will follow the Christianity because he thought that he can work out the idea about caste, right? But then he did not. He embraced Buddhism. And because he said that, that is what Buddhism said, that every human has the red blood. Right? That's what is the rationale. Whereas in Mahayana, everybody has a Buddha nature. So everybody has a capacity to get enlightened. So that's why he embraced Buddhism, because he thought that everybody has the right to get enlightened. Everybody blood is red. So that's why the color from outside you could be black, white, yellow, brown, whatever. But the red is still, the blood is still red. Right? So that's why he embraced Buddhism. So that's why before we have the faith, we need to understand what is that religion fundamentally. What do they teach? Okay. And as this is a Buddhist class, I don't try to, propagate Buddhism. Okay, it's just because I teach Buddhism, so that's what I say. But in my own belief, okay, all religion teach you to be a good person, not be a bad person. So don't take me wrong that if I teach Buddhism and I thought Buddhism is the best, no. Okay, the best to the people. The best to whose choice is that? If you choose Buddhism as the best for you, then it's the best for you. Right? But if you choose Christianity, then Christianity is the best for you. No problem. Okay, so don't quote me wrong that when I teach Buddhism and you think that I will think that all the religion is bad. No. All the Muslim, I consider them my friend, and Christianity is also my friend as well. So when we're talking about the faith, we have to understand the meaning of the Buddha. And the Buddha carried 9 quality, and so that's why the Buddha said that you should not believe as a blind faith. You should have a faith of something. And so when you look into the quality of the Buddha, you see that nothing that make you feel uncomfortable, make you feel that he is a supernatural individual and can condemn you, can make you go to hell, or if you did something wrong, he will punish you. Okay, so basically, he just the enlightened one, he is the blessed one, he is the one Arahant, that means eradicate all the defilement, and also that he is the supreme, attained supreme enlightenment. And his action and his wisdom are parallel. Whatever he can teach, matching with his wisdom, his action is also correlated with level of knowledge. That's why he has the Vijayara Sampano. Okay? Action and wisdom are parallel. Sukato, that means he entered the beautiful path. Sukato also indicates that there's many meanings of Sukato. Actually, this one, if you want to learn this one, it's going to take you about 4 months to understand each of this meaning. Okay, but you just need to briefly to understand this one because this is a Buddhist ethic. This is not a common class. So Sukato Su, and then Su that's considered beautiful. Su is also considered wholesomeness. Su is also considered balance. Okay, no right, no wrong. So that's why it's Su. Gato, that is a past participle. That means a person entered the path that balances. Okay, so this is a past participle. And then they have a local, middle, and local. So then that means that he knows everything, all the domain in the world, according to the human knowledge, we understand them all. And then Purisadama Sarati, he is the teacher. He also, now this Sarati here does indicate Sarati, then a teacher, the Sarati also a person who riding the horse. So he, the person who riding the horse, he has the power to hear, okay, on the path straight. And he carry a lot of people, okay, that these people including Deva and the men. So that means that he's the person that bring out the right path for the human. And the Sarati also means the teacher as well. Okay. Sattha Devamanusana, that is the teacher. This is Sattha, this is the teacher of the man and the woman. And then Buddha, just enlightenment and the blessed one. So from this you understand that this is carrying the democratic features. If you follow him, you don't have to worry about it, whether he want to give you some magic and then make you crazy, or some magic that will become, enlightened. No. You have to, he's just basically a teacher, a person that is riding the horse for you to make it happen to follow it up. So then whether you follow or not, then you have to follow the Dhamma. Okay? So the quality of the Dhamma, and I also give you a brief meaning of each term here. So the quality of the Dhamma is that so this one is Swakata Padavata Dhammo Sanditiko. So that means perfectly dispelled, because he is a Sama Sambuddho. So that's why he picked a perfect dispel. Perfect dispel, that means he understands your level and he understands his approach, strategy to teach you to make you understand. Okay? He has that type of skill. For example, the reason that I asked you to write the assignment, not just for the mark, I assess each of you, your writing skill and your understanding. So that's how the teacher assesses. I'm not a Buddha, I can look at you and I know right away. But I have a skill to assessing your English and assessing your understanding level. Right? And the way you interact with me, I can tell right away you understand or you don't understand. So as a teacher as well, he look into individual cases. He know how to teach individual of us. So it's so perfect. Perfect in a sense, perfect in this role because it can perfect as a wholesome path and lead a person transform from unwholesome to wholesome. And from Puthujjana, that is a worthy to a arahant, right? Transform you from a worthy person to become a saint person. So that's why it's perfectly dispelled. And also, this teaching is only here and now. Whatever that is teaching, you need to understand this is for applicable here and now. Okay? His teaching is not outdated. You see, as a PhD, as a scholar, right? Sometimes our research is outdated, right? Because it's evolving. But his teaching up to now is not outdated. It's still very applicable. Okay, like Panchasila is still very applicable.
I think it's amazing. It's still contemporary 2,000 years since you wrote this.
Yeah. So that's why it's here and now. And also the other meaning of here and now does mean that whatever you practice, you will experience the wholesome or the result right away. The result is not necessarily in form that you can see, but the result can be at the meta level. I mean, you have to experience by yourself. For example, if you meet a woman, an elderly woman across the street, you feel happy. And that's happening is that here and now. The moment you do it, you experience right away. Alkaliko doesn't mean you don't need to wait for the time. That's what I just said as well. Whatever you practice is not waiting for the time to evolve, but you experience right away. It's just like the water when you're thirsty, you drink down, and then you shrunk and you will drink your thirst right away. Okay? And then also this ahipasiko, his path is not by force. Ahipasiko, please come and listen. I invite you to come. I don't force you to believe. meaning of AE physical, that means you have to come and you experience it. You have to experience yourself. It's not my book, but my Dhamma you have to experience. For example, if you do the meditation, you will experience during the meditation. I cannot tell you, believe it, meditation is good and blah, 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 blah. Even now, the neuroscience can measure your brain and indicate that your brain is very plastic, very elastic, very good. But then, that just is a conceptual level only. But AE physical, you have to come and experience by yourself. Okay, so that's what is meant by AE physical. That means inviting you to come to experience. Also means that you not come by force, you have to come by your will. The third one is that you have to experience. Further you go, and then once you experience, this is the path that leading you to the liberation, Nibbana. Okay, and also that, what is Nibbana then? Some is Nirvana. What is Nirvana? But Nibbana is Nibbana. What is Nirvana, sister? So, okay, thank you. Nir does mean away, right? Ni does mean stay away or free. That's what she said. Nibbana does mean bonding. Bond. Does mean you tie it yourself. So that's why you're free from bondage. Okay? We have bondage to Rupa Dosa Moha, right? We bondage to the family, we bondage to our concept, my way or highway, our right, my idea, I. So those are Nibbana. Okay? So free from bondage. So this is the way that leading you no more bondage. And then so this is the path that is experienced by the Vedita. This is the future participant. So this is the path experienced by the wise person. Okay, so that means he proved that I'm the wise person. I already experienced, I already attend the Nibbana. You should follow that you also attend the Nibbana as I did as well. Okay, so he set himself as the example. Okay, and he encouraged you, but then he said that I'm the example, and I'm not God. I cannot give you the Nibbana, you have to practice yourself. So this indicates that here, why is this ethical? Why is so ethical? It's ethical because it's giving you the freedom of your choice to practice. Right? It's freedom of your choice. And if you apply to all of the faith, if all the faith will have a freedom to choose, a freedom to experience, a freedom to be inviting to come to experience that religion, that is the democratic features. Right? So that's why and freedom doesn't fall into morality, freedom doesn't fall into the human value. Freedom is ethical. It's very universal. Then we have to rely on the Sangha. And the Sangha is also the person who entered the Supatipalo. The same, they are not Sugato, yes, but they are Supatipalo, the person who walks on the path. And so how many people in the Sangha, how many members in the Sangha? Four. Right? So therefore, in the Sangha, is the Upasika and Upasaka in the Sangha. So controversial. Huh? Let's define this, okay. Ujupatipano. This is a person, first is the person who entered a wholesome, beautiful path. Supatipano, so that means beautiful path. Ujupatipano, that means they're very straightforward. They're straightforward in the sense that they're straightforward with their mind and they're straightforward with their behavior. If you see a nun or a monk, they that's not the behavior of a monk or a nun, okay? Even in our Patimokkha, not allowed, in the Sikha, not allow monk and nun to do that. You want to see something, you just open it and say, hey, how are you doing? Fine. But not. It's not a behavior of a nun. Okay? People talk is do not. So, their behavior has to be ultra straight, righteousness. Okay? Also, their mind has to be straight as well. Okay? Because the mind, which is guarded the behavior. So, ultra patipano. Jnana patipano was this one. What is jnana? The right way. Okay? They follow the right way. And then Samiti Patipano. What is Samiti Patipano? Pali students. There's so many Pali students here. What is Samiti Patipano? Huh? It's going to be in the exam. Pali exam. Huh? Proper. This has to be, this one has to be right, and this one has to be proper. Okay? They have to be proper. So proper in the behavior, proper in the, and the right is also mean that knowledge. Proper is associated with the behavior. Okay? So then, idam, is whatever is, whatever, okay? Yeah, and then plus idam. Chattari, that means four. Purisa yoga means four pairs. Four pairs. And this four pair become Atta Purisa it become the 8 individuals. So that is the Sangha. Ahuneyo. Ahuneyo. Dakineyo. Anjalikaraniyo. What is Ahuneyo? Huh? Huh? What is not Dakineyo is offering. What is Ahuneyo? With respect. They allow to respect. Ahuneyo? Honoring, right? Honoring, invitable. Dakineyo, offering. Anjali Karaniyo, that means salute. Anjali means two hands. Anjali Karaniyo. Anuttaram Punya Ketan Pukasati. So they are the person who have the Anuttaram Then that means unsurpassed. Punya merit. And Ketang, that is the field. So they are the people who got the field for the people, for the people to earn the punya, to earn the merit. Okay, so that is the whoever belongs to the sun. Now, go back to this question. Is Upasika and Upasaka belong to the Sangha?
Yes. Yes.
What about, what do you think?
Yes. Đúng rồi. Đúng rồi, nói gì không? Đúng rồi. Ý là nghĩ sao về Upasika
I
không
have
hợp
to
với
understand a lay person belongs to the Buddhist Sasana. Huh? But the Sangha belong to the monastic people. Okay? So Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni belong to the Sangha. But the Upasika Upasaka belong to the Buddhist Sasana. This is the whole religion. Okay? So why? Because the lay devotee can have this one. Okay? But the lay devotee doesn't have this part. So that's why the Sangha including Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni, but that doesn't mean that Buddhist religion don't belong, the lay devotee not belong to the Buddhist Sasana. It belongs to the Buddhist Sasana, but the lay devotee and Bhikkhu belong to the Buddhist Sasana. You have to understand the Buddhist Sasana. Whereas the Sangha belongs to the Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni because it belongs to the Chattari, who is a yoga. Okay? And also, no, even the lay devotee also attending this too. The lay devotee can attend in this too. Because they are, if they practice, they also honor, what is the four pair and 8 heart? 4 pair and 8 fruit, what are they? Sotabana, and then Sankaragami, and then Aragami, and Arahant. And then there is a Sotabana, Magga, and Sotabana, Hala, right? So that's mean 2. And then Sakadagami, Gami, and Sadagami, Hala. And then Anagami, Magga, and Anagami, Hala. And then Arahant Gami and Arahant Hala. That's mean the path and the result. Sotabani, path and result. For the Bhutanese or Tibetan students, you just need to understand that the four food, right? Same food. You need to understand that there is a path and a result. The path and the result. But for the Pali student, you need to start learning this terminology, especially with student Pali. But then, because lay devoting, they still devoted to one family, so that's why they cannot be so the monk cannot salute back to the lay devotee. But the lay devotee need to respect, honoring them, and also question. What's the difference between honoring and respect? What's the difference between respect and honoring? Don't know? Okay, in the example. No, if I respect him, I speak in a very respectful way. Is that considered honor? Administrator, come back with.